I haven't studied this thing as much as I would like to actually do this bridge properly. But as you are talking about the difficulties in your life right now, this was somewhat life-changing for me. It seems like I haven't been living this version of reality long enough to actually back it up. But how much better I feel today compared to how I felt before, I need to talk about this. So I've been reading a lot about or researching a lot of manifestation of like your mind, like how you manifest things with the power of like your thoughts and your what things you are going through in your head, what things you talk out loud, what things you write in any platforms, anything, and how that affects the things that happen to you. And that all sounds pretty hippie bull. I know, that sounds so bull. But actually studying this thing, I have started to find scientific proof that this is not just bull. How much of it actually is something that we can, let's say, manifest to our own lives, that's questionable. I don't know yet. But what I found out is that when you have, for example, negative thoughts, like I'm nothing, I'll get never nothing done, my life is shit, everything is bull, everything is just da. When you think like that, when you speak like that, when you write things like that down, you are vibrating on a certain frequency. And this is something that we can now prove with like today's science. I think neuroscience can actually prove this by how we can capture the images and the waves that we send out. We can't see them, obviously, but today we can capture them with a PC, like a computer. So we can prove that this is something of a real thing. And when you are negative, when you talk about the bad, when you are talking about like how everything is bullshit, you are actually vibrating on a lower frequency. And when you are happy, when you are talking about positive things, when you are helping other people, when you are living like everything is okay, you are actually vibrating on a higher frequency. And what we've now been able to prove is that the lower frequency and the higher frequency produce certain chemicals in our brain. And this is the problem, I cannot remember the names of the chemicals, but practically, the thing, for example, that we produce in our head when we are like positive thinking, positive enforcing, positive actions, is the same chemical that makes us produce serotonin, which is one of the biggest feeling good things, what you get from sleeping well, eating well, being healthy, exercise. That is serotonin. That is the thing that makes you feel good when you do these things. And this higher frequency produces that thing in your brain. So you are literally scientifically proved to make yourself feel better if you are vibrating on the higher frequency. And also, there's two different chemicals that it produces on lower frequency. And these are the chemicals that will make you feel like they will. I wish I could remember the things, and I hope I can study this more to actually get more into this. But what I know is already like the point. You are literally causing yourself to feel like that by vibrating on different frequencies. And when you accept that as something of a fact, you understand it, you start to, personally, I started to find myself on those places and realizing that I've decided to be there. Like before, it's been more like I've been forced in here. My life has made my life miserable. But now, I truly believe, because I've seen the proof, it's been proved to me. I truly believe that by vibrating on a higher frequency, you can actually manifest a good feeling. You can actually make yourself feel better, because you cannot affect how serotonin makes you feel. That is already decided for you by biology. So if you can produce serotonin, you cannot feel bad. It's impossible to do it, you know? So all you really have to do, start vibrating there. And now we get to the next points. This is not a thing that you're gonna be doing 24/7. No one is vibrating here 24/7. It is something where you have to pull yourself. We all, even the most positive people in the world have days and times where they just don't have it. They're like, I can't today, I'm sorry, I can't today. Those are the moments where you have to start pulling yourself back up. Those are the moments where you have to work for it. It doesn't happen automatically. You will not automatically be happy. Often we mix these things with like that happiness comes from this place or this place. But these places are actually just making us vibrate on a positive level, which will then start producing these things. So this has broke my world. This is literally have changed everything that I believe in, everything, how I think, how I act, how I try to manifest. I am gonna start talking about this stuff more and more live, because one big part of this is that I can vibrate to you. If I vibrate on a higher level, it will affect your vibration as well. So by being a positive, by doing good things, by helping other people, you will actually help them to get there too. It's not something you just do for yourself. This is the same thing like a lot of people these days don't like the fake news that we are fed. Because the news are meant to raise emotions, because emotions make money. They get people act a certain way. Emotions are powerful, and you wanna fire those emotions by news. So it's bullshit. It's not a good thing to let those news vibrate you to that lower level, because they have that effect. Every single thing that you think in your head silently has that effect. Every single thing you say has that effect. Everything vibrates. Can you imagine that we see 1% of the light waves around us? 1% our eye. And that, for example, you guys know that a lot of animals have these certain ways of like how far they can see, or what kind of colors they can see, or what kind of heat maps they can see. And that is what I'm talking about when I see like how much we see. 1%. Everything I say vibrates. I just can't see it. But we can now prove it with PC, like computers and science. Everything I think vibrates, and it affects everyone around me. If you have ever met anyone who has made you feel like, God damn, every time I'm with this guy, I get so happy. He just makes everyone happy around him. He's such a good, like, happy fella. Everyone is really happy around them. And I think most of us have met. If you haven't met that positive guy, you've most likely met the negative guy. Like I've personally been a lot of recently. And that is what has changed now. That has to change now. Because every time I'm negative here, it will vibrate to every one of you and make your day a little bit worse. That's why when sometimes you're really having a good day, then someone comes to you and they're like, oh my God, everything is going wrong. There's no happiness, there's nothing that is, and you start going down like, what? Yeah, man, everything is kind of actually. That's where it happens. That's where you can prove. If you think backwards, you don't need to prove these things to yourself by testing them out. Usually people can't prove things by trying to prove them, because you either want it to happen or you don't want it to happen. You are not in a position of trying to prove it to yourself. But when you look backwards, when you look to what you have done and what you have thought and what you have experienced, you can't fake it anymore, you know? You have some real proof there. That's why usually when they analyze, for example, your psyche and how your brain is, they will ask you things about your childhood, because that is where you have the least control of trying to force yourself to be something else. As a child, you are your pure version of yourself, and then you start losing it a little bit by little, because all the agendas that are fed to you all these things that they tell you. You are supposed to think like this, you are supposed to act like this. This all drives you away from it, and it's harder and harder to tell who you are. And that's why they usually want to see like, how did you act as a kid? Because that's where the proof is. But when you look past, you can actually see this. You start thinking about all the negative people you've been around, all the positive people you've been around, and how they've made you react. And there you suddenly see that there is a reaction, there is something that happens there, some sort of a thing that happens. And what I'm talking about, the vibrations, is literally the scientific proof of what happens. It's not just positivity is something that like when you're around positive people, you're gonna be positive, or like people just mirror others' behavior and start acting like that themselves, like how much other people affect how we act. It's not just that. It's way bigger than that. And there's the whole serotonin, the whole chemical thing that happens here. It's proven. This is not something that I think of. This is not something that I've come up with my head. This is not even analyzed. This is literally reading the scientific tests and results of those tests. And these tests literally tell you that the chemicals that you release here by vibrating low or vibrating high are real, and they really happen there. And because we can prove it, for someone like me who needs proof to everything, I don't believe anything that I can't get a proof of. Anything that even I don't believe myself. I am to that point of not being able to believe anything that I hear, that I don't believe when I think something myself. I'm like, why would you think that? Is there some emotion? Is there something that makes you feel like that? Are you sure that's true? And then I start questioning myself to a point that I've proved it to myself somehow. Math, statics, like I laugh. What percentual chance is that something happens? That is my best proof that I can get out of the world in general. Biology, physics, chemistry, alchemy, these things are something that you can't fake. You have to have the math and everything behind it to actually that it's true. You just can't fucking fake it. And now, in the past 10, 20 years or so, we've started to have, for example, the neuroscience, where we can go here and we can start taking pictures, or we can start producing, we can capture the waves that I'm talking about, and we can show that this is real. This is not something of a science story or something. And that was something that I personally needed to believe in anything. I am a guy the guy who's talking to you right now is a guy who believed 30 years that there is nothing above science. There is no spiritualism. There is nothing like that. I believed a year ago that a God is something that we create in our head. For some people, hell can be alcoholism. For some people, hell can be financial issues. For some people, heaven can be family. For some people, God can be a family. Or for some people, God can be themselves, their work, their art, whatever. And I truly believe that we create those entities ourselves. That's the kind of guy that is talking to. 30 years I've believed that. And everything is changed now. Because somebody proved it to me. Somebody showed me the science behind it. And I cannot deny it. Because that's what I truly believe in, is the science. Nothing else. And as long as the science can take me forward, I am always ready to change my mind. Because I've been wrong. That's it. It's simple as that, and that is okay. And that's where it starts. Power of manifestation, power of positive thinking, negative thinking, and actions. Don't leave it on thinking. As long as I'm positive here, as long as I'm making you feel better, as long as I'm telling you that everything is actually really good and life is beautiful, I am vibrating in a level that will make you happier as well. And if I made you smile even a little bit just now, I just proved it to you. It is amazing, and we will be talking about this stuff a lot in the future.